Mark, we're here at Kapow Comic Convention and you've been having various panels today, haven't you? Tell us a little bit about one of them, which is in particular Millarworld.
Yes. Well, somebody actually said on Twitter last year, which I thought was hilarious, was that Kapow was what the world would be like if I was Hitler. And there is a vaguely fascistic look to the place, like when you just see the Millarworld Earth with my name through the middle of it and everything. It just seems like some horrible parallel reality where I have destroyed half the planet or something. But it's actually, at the same time, it's also lovely and everything too. So I had a great time, and my pals were on the panel. You know, I had Dave Gibbons and Frank Quitely and Nacho Vigalondo, who I did Supercrooks with, and it was just really fun, and it was lovely. We had 700 people or something in the hall. So, you know, when you do these things from home, sitting working on your own, you know, it is quite nice to think there's a lot of people enjoying it, and conventions are quite nice affirmations of that, you know.
You mentioned Supercrooks there, and I talked to Nacho earlier, and he was telling me a little bit about what you're working together. Yeah. Tell us a bit more about that project.
Well, Nacho and I, it's funny actually because it just all happened so quickly, you know, like Nacho, I'd come up with this idea of, you know, just that very simple idea of why do supervillains always, you know, do robberies in Gotham City when Batman is so brilliant, you know, and he's just going to put, if he doesn't do it this issue, he's doing it in 2 issues' time, you're in prison, you know. And I thought, why not just go somewhere where the cops are all quite lazy, like Spain or something like that, you know, and it's going to be, there's no superheroes, you can rob that bank just fine. And, you know, and I worked out this plot for it and everything. And I was telling someone about it, you know, and like we ended up getting it picked up really quickly from the guys I did Wanted with, like Marc Platt Productions, and I love those guys over there. They're just really good blokes. And they said, have you any idea for a director? And I said, actually, Nacho Vigalondo is a good friend of mine. He's a brilliant Spanish director who's yet to do an English language movie. So I suggested them, and Nacho's always worked around that €2 million kind of budget, and this is very much a 40 million plus kind of movie. And I was wondering, you know, would they maybe want some guy who's used to blockbusters or something? And they were saying, no, we love his stuff. And I think it's a kind of Duncan Jones thing where you know that this guy's good. If you can do that with a small budget, think what you can do with a big budget. So so they were excited about that, and they said, would you and Nacho like to write the screenplay? And I'm not a screenwriter, and I've no ambition to be a screenwriter. And Nacho can't speak English barely, you know, and yet we spent 2 weeks living in my house writing the screenplay, and it worked out pretty good, you know. So Nacho's got this movie he's going to do first, and hopefully we'll get around to this next year. You know.
So what was it like stepping into the role of a screenwriter then? Because obviously you're a seasoned writer.
Yeah. I much prefer doing comics, much prefer it. I've been offered so many things and I turn everything down, and comics is just my first love, you know. It's like, it's such a brilliant job. Like when I was 5, I didn't want to be a screenwriter. I wanted to be a comic writer, and I used to hand draw my own comics. I used to want to be an artist as well, and I used to literally sort of draw 8-page comics. And I didn't know photocopiers existed, so then I would draw the same comic out perfectly again, you know, like, and I would do maybe 5 or 6 copies like that. And when I found photocopiers, it was amazing. But I used to do them and sell them. I'd go around my neighbours and sell them, these little 5p comics, you know. So that was my lifetime's ambition. So to be doing this now, I don't see as a stepping stone onto something else. So doing the screenplay, I was enjoying it, and I loved working with Nacho, but my mind was always kind of, I can't wait to go back and do panels again and everything. That world is very comfortable for me, you know. And Joe Carnahan and I are going to co-write something in October, but that's the only screenplays I'm really ever planning to do.
So what's the kind of timeline for that particular film, Supercrooks now?
Supercrooks, really just see what happens with Nacho, you know, like, I mean, I've done my bit really, you know, like I co-wrote the screenplay with him. We'll probably bring someone else in, I'd imagine, to do a polish, you know, because like I say, Nacho's Spanish. I can barely speak English, you know, so to get someone who with a grasp of language to come in and actually fine-tune it. But there's plenty of time, because Nacho's going to spend at least the next 6, 9, 12 months on this Windows project, and we'll probably get around to Supercrooks next year.